heroes and there are legends. Heroes come and go. Legends never die. We usually say that you cannot become a legend before death. These are living legends. If the legends fall silent, who will teach the children of our ways? Son Coaches Podcast, Season 5, brought to you by Titan Sensor, is proud to present The Legends. Sun Coaches is proud to partner with Titan Sports for the next 4 seasons on Sun Coaches Podcast. Titan GPS delivers technological superiority and improved player performance through wearable GPS made for high school football and strength and conditioning. From speed training to athlete recruit to workload enhancement, Titan is the easy-to-use yet comprehensive GPS tool to get it done. There's no minimum to get started, and Titan will walk you through every step to success. Message us on X at Titan Sensor to learn more and get in touch. Welcome to Sun Coaches Podcast, Season 5, the Legend Series, and I've got a good friend of mine on today. He's one of my favorite guys in the business, one of the most intelligent, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure he'll correct me. 1-1 as a player, 1-1 as an assistant. He's 1-1 as a head coach. The head coach at Ware County, Coach Jason Strickland. Thanks for being on with me.
Bubba, I appreciate you getting me on here, and I don't know how the heck I got into this Legend series, but I appreciate it. You have done an incredible job of bringing football to life to a lot of folks, man. And this what you're doing is a big deal. I hope number one, I know you don't take it for granted, but I hope nobody else does either, because there's some voices that are being heard on these things, man, that we hadn't heard from in a long time, and it's a lot of fun listening to these podcasts and the stories that are being told.
Well, I think a lot of the guys our age, especially, it's how we learned. You know, we went to clinics and we sat around at the feet of the masters and just listened to them tell stories.
I can remember just being at clinics and sitting at a table where Milt Miller was, and just that group of guys, Jeff Caldwell, and on and on and on, and just being in awe and just thankful they'd let me sit at their table, and just listen to them talk ball, and a lot of it wasn't X's and O's. It was just managing a program and those sorts of things, and just so thankful for those guys and what they did for a young generation coming along.
Oh, absolutely. I remember one time we were in the bubble and Coach Pilcher was like, come over here and sit with us. And then we go, me and Kevin and somebody else went and sat over there. And he was like, why don't you young guys ever hang out with us? And I was like, well, because y'all are you. Oh, we're just regular guys. And then, as the night went on, you realized that they were.
Yeah.
But, to us, we were like, oh, my God, there's Coach Hyder.
Yes.
Oh, my God, there's Coach Davis. That's Coach Davis.
Can I touch your robe?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But, well, I appreciate you being on. And I know the story. I wanted to have some younger legends on because I think that's where you fall into that category, because there aren't too many of us that are going to be able to catch or have a chance to catch the 200 and 300 game winners. And, I wanted to have people like you and Franklin and Joey King and, Chip and, guys like you guys that are the next tier that are going to be the next group of legends, whether y'all like it or not. That's just the way it's going to be, because you are those guys. And I appreciate you coming on. And I know that you grew up in Clinch County, right?
Yep. A lot of folks know my story, Chris, and I know you and I go back 20 some odd years, but grew up in Clinch County, played for Don Tison, who was one of the greatest men that I've ever known in my life, and he was our head coach. Our defense coordinator was Cecil Barber, and kind of grew up with a little bit of a tough hand. My dad died when I was 12. My mom died my senior year of high school, and I tried to challenge the system at that point, and probably an angry teenager, not understanding the world that was spinning around him, and tried to make a lot of bad decisions. And Cecil, Barber, and Tison just flat out wouldn't let me do it. And they were coming by and making sure I was at school every day and making sure I was where I was supposed to be. And look, I was a very below average high school player. I mean, they had plenty of other people that they could have been spending their time trying to check on and make sure it was doing right. But they were making sure that this kid that didn't know anything, trying to be a jerk, was doing what he's supposed to do. And they got me through that senior year. And once I graduated, all I could think about is I wanted to somehow have the impact they had and somehow be like them. I'm nowhere near Donald Tison or Cecil Barber. I mean, those two guys have got a golden chair in heaven. I know Coach Tison's already there. We're not rushing Coach Barber by any means, but that was my driving force trying to get in this business. And I didn't know exactly where it was going to lead me, but I knew that what I wanted to do, and I had a very good outline and roadmap because those two men had laid it out for me.
So where did you end up going to college?
I went to Valdosta State, and it's kind of one of those deals of my sister was in Valdosta. We were all still trying to kind of recover from losing our mother and all those sorts of things. It just seemed like a natural fit for me. A lot of my friends were going there. I was not by any means a college football player or any of that sort, but I wanted to be around it. Coach Mummy was the head coach at Valdosta State at that time, and that was back in the Chris Hatcher legend days and Sean Bostic and all those guys, Lance Flunderburk. I went and got a job in the football office and just wanted to be around and tried to, if the water boys got thirsty, I went and got them water and, just tried to soak up anything I could. And those folks were good to me and let me hang around. And as we got to the point where I was getting ready to graduate, Coach Mummy had left and gone to Kentucky, and Coach Mike Kelly was coming in, and I was thinking about trying to be a GA, and Coach Sean Bostic was GA, and at that point was trying to decide if he was going to go to Kentucky or stay, and kind of bounce back and forth. And I talked with Coach Kelly, and if Bostic left, I was going to get a GA spot there, and Boss decided to stay, and so then it got to, hey, what are you going to do? I mean, you gotta get a job, man. You got to get out of this thing and make some money. And Jeff Lee was getting ready to start the program up at Twiggs County, and called down to the football office and asked if they had anybody graduating. And what he should have said was, anybody graduating that's dumb enough to come try to get on this deal. And I went up with just this incredible expectations of what we were going to be and do and all these sorts of things, and get up there and we're starting a football program, and if Jeff got there and they basically you had a group of men that went to the board and said, hey, we want a football program, we want to restart the program. And I think the board told them, you got to raise, I forget what the number was. It's been so long ago now, but it's $36,000 or whatever it was. And literally, we're standing out on the road, with buckets, trying to, with pennies and quarters, whatever we can raise to get this stuff raised. And
like Shriners and firemen.
That's about what it was. And we wound up raising half of it. And that group of men in the public went back to the board and said, yep, we got it all. We can start the program. So we started the program with like $16,000. And you want to talk about some tremendous lessons and coaches. Terry Shelton is a name that not a lot of people know, but but one of the best football coaches I've ever known in my life died way too early, and Rusty Sowell and Ted Bellflower, and I mean, just some, we're all just scrapping, trying to figure out how to do this thing, and then it was tremendous life lessons that you're able to learn, and so thankful for that first opportunity. Getting there with nothing. I'm talking about nothing.
Didn't have no helmets.
No helmets. I mean, no shoulder pad, nothing. And Jeff did an incredible job of steering that thing, and winding up getting us in the playoffs, and he had some good years. He made a huge impact in that, not just in that program, but in me and the type of man that he was.
Well, that was your first teaching job too, wasn't it? Oh
yeah, it was. It was one of those deals, and there's nothing negative about Twiggs, but I mean, we back then, we would stay. You stayed the night at camp. We all camped out in the gym and all that type of stuff. And our principal did not live in Twiggs County. He lived, I want to say, in Henry County, if I remember correctly. But we've had 3-a-days and all that sort of deal. And kind of, I don't know, about the third day of camp, he had come to have dinner with us, and we're sitting around, and I had like 2 periods of history, and then a period of weight training. And I mean, it's 3rd practice a day. I mean, I'm fresh out of college. I hadn't made any money. I mean, I got like 3 shirts and 2 pair of shorts to make it through this camp. And I mean, I look like just throwed away trash. And we're sitting there at dinner, and I asked the principal, said, how do you need me to dress for school? And he said, Coach, what you got on's fine. And I'm telling, just a T-shirt is, I mean, it is terrible. A pair of shorts is terrible. And I said, well, I know for like my weight training class, this is fine. He said, but I mean, what about like my social studies classes? And he said, Coach, what you got on is fine. And I said, are you sure? And he said, Coach, I hire my coaches to do 2 things: win football games and break up fights. And I want you comfortable doing both of them. I said, yes, sir. So that was my first introduction into public school teaching, and we had a large time. We had a lot of fun.
So where'd you end up going after Twiggs?
Jeff got the job at Jones County, and we were kind of upset, really, because we had a tremendous group coming back. We'd made the playoffs, lost to Miller County in the playoffs. Charles Grant and those guys just beat us to death. But we had a great group coming back. Tony Hollins, who played at Georgia Tech with the Houston Texans, was our quarterback, and so we felt like we might be able to make a little run, but. And Jones had lost 28 straight football games, so we wasn't just excited about making that jump. But Jeff took the head job, took me with him, and then we went over there and had, I was with Jeff, I believe, 3 years there, and had a large time there. And then if we're gonna go through this whole thing, we're gonna bounce around a bunch, Lamb. But from there, I went. Jeff Caldwell got the Stockbridge job, and I went up. It was one of those things. I felt like I needed to spread my wings a little bit. And stupidly, I should have just stayed with Jeff at Jones, but I knew Jeff Caldwell, was good friends with him through Terry, and went up to Stockbridge trying to just learn another way and see a different way of doing things, and got up there, and I just felt like Stockbridge probably wasn't a fit for us. And then got an opportunity. J.B. Arnold got the head job at Jefferson County and offered me the offense coordinator's job way too early, way too young, way too stupid. Went over there and took it with him, and once again learned another way. And J.B. had his hands full with me and Seth Rogers on staff, and we gave him, all kinds of headaches. But learned a lot under JB and what he did. Building a program his way, coming in through a lot of adversity. JB replaced a legend there. And, I commend him for what he did for such a long time and weathering the storm and just, winning battle after battle after battle. And it's one of those things a lot of times, Coach, you don't know what you learned until you get away for a few years and look back and go, wow, there's a lot of lessons there. And JB had a big impact on my career, giving me that opportunity. I was there 3 years and then took a job with, I had an opportunity to go coach with Robert Davis at Westside Macon. And I felt like, there's just no way I can not go coach for Coach Davis and have this chance. And, you want to talk about, what an honor to go be around him on a daily basis. That's where I met guys like Mike Sweeney, CB Cornett was on that staff. Just incredible people that had such a huge impact on my life. Spoon, who's the head coach there now. Just incredible people. And so thankful that we got that opportunity. And then me and Coach Rich McWhorter were at a clinic one night, and we were kind of the last two sitting around a barrel one evening. And he said, "When are you getting back to South Georgia?" And hey, I hadn't thought anything about going back to South Georgia, and told him, I said, "Coach, that's not really been anything on my mind about going back." And he said, "Look, we got a job. I'd love to get you down." And heck, I went down, and my interview was, we went to a fish fry. And I don't know if they wanted to see if I like fried flounder and grits, but I tried to eat my whole weight in it.
You're like, I'm home.
Yes, absolutely. And so next thing I know, we're packing up, moving to folks in Georgia. And once again, I've been so fortunate, number one, to coach with incredible head coaches, but the staffs, Lamb, that I've been a part of, and the players that I've had a chance to be around, that's the blessing, and that's the story of my career is the humans that I've able to be around. Coach McWhorter turned into my big brother, and his daughter Darby McWhorter and Hayden McWhorter, and they turned into like our kids, and it was just an incredible experience. We had an unbelievable staff at Charlton during that time, and obviously just a tremendous run of athletes. We won a couple state championships and able to go beat Buford back-to-back years, excuse me. And just an incredible run. And then, we get that first call. And the thing I loved about Coach McWhorter is that he was real with me. And like he knew I wanted to be a head coach. He would tell me at times he thought I might be rushing things, or I'd ask him about a job and he would tell me, it's a terrible situation. You don't need to get in that. And then, Lamar County opened up, and Coach Mike came to me, and we had seen Lamar on film. I think maybe we were playing Heard County in the playoffs or something. And through that, we had saw Lamar play Heard and thought they had some good looking kids. And maybe it was back-to-back years we saw them. I can't remember, but he came to me and said, Strick, I think this is one you need to look at. Talked to a few people. They've had a period of success. His whole thing was take a look at the history of the school. Is there a 5 or 6 year run where they've had success? And if there is, and you can repeat it. If they've never had that, then you're just asking for a headache. And then they had that under Mark Wilson, and he felt like it could be repeated. So I put in for it. And I think me and you both interviewed for that thing.
Yeah, we were final 3.
Yeah, and I was fortunate. Derek Austin got named the principal at the same time, and Derek named me the head coach, and we were talking before we got on tonight that, a lot of folks thinks, this thing just happens and you automatically walk in the door and start winning a bunch of games. But we went 1-9. And here's the story. We're playing Jordan like game 8 and we're going into overtime against Jordan. We're over at this point. And, I remember saying on the headset, like, guys, if we don't win this one, we're going 0-10. And this is the reality. And, we wound up beating those guys in overtime. Had a guy named Rod Brown that played linebacker for us. I think it's like defense coordinator up at Gordon College now. He caused a fumble in overtime for us to win. And we finished the season 1-9. But it was one of the funnest years. I mean, it was tough. It was me and Jason Wicker, who's still with me, Gus Condon. We were up there. It felt like 18 hours a day. And like we didn't have an office. We built an office. There were so many things we didn't have. We were, we didn't have, got there, the kids not in the weight room. Thank God we had Derek Austin as our principal because he was coming from a football background in Washington County, and he was adamant we were going to have guys in the weight room. And we made it through that season. But I mean, what we did, I think, was we established a culture of toughness, a culture that we were going to be weight room centric. And then, we got to year 2 and all of a sudden we were pretty doggone good. And then by year 4, we were undefeated and we made a run in the playoffs, lost in quadruple overtime in the quarterfinals to Applin, and then had an opportunity to go to Fitzgerald. And, Fitzgerald's one of those places that you have an opportunity to go. I think you go. And had a wonderful 5 years at Fitzgerald, still tremendous friends. They're unbelievable players that we were able to coach. But after 5 years, we played back-to-back state championships, lost both of them, and lost one to – we had a 3-year stretch. We lose to GAC in the semifinals on the last second field goal in 14. We lose to Pace Academy in the state championship in 15. We lose to Benedictine in 16. And I'll let everybody else figure out what all that has in common. But, then we started getting some calls. And, so then you start thinking, we had a good group coming back, tremendous players coming back. James Graham was a quarterback, was one of the best athletes I've ever coached. He was coming back. But one of the things I've always been scared of, and Coach Holmes has told me this before, is do you stay too long, they stop hearing your voice. And that's always been something that has worried me, concerned me. So then we were not looking to leave, but when some of the calls started coming in from some places, then if we felt like we had to listen to some of them. And we had some administration change at Fitzgerald. I'm not saying anything was bad, but it was different. You know how administration change is. So we kind of started saying, all right, let's listen to some folks. And Dara Bennett contacted me at Pierce, and I thought she was one of the most forward-thinking administrators that I've ever been around. And she offered us an opportunity to go to Pierce, and we knew there was going to be a transition with those guys being an air raid guy and a Pender, and that is not who we were. We were wing T, and we were going to run buck sweep until you showed us you could stop it, and then we would show you a different play. But we were going to take those skill guys, and they had to go learn to block, and we like I said, we were going to be a weight room centric football program. And we got there, and the first year struggled, but wound up getting in the second round of the playoffs. We went and played a great playoff game against Peach County. I credit those kids and our coaches for getting those kids to believe they just go play. We got no reason being on the field with these guys. Just go play. And it's 17-14 against Peach late in the third quarter, and we're looking around going, our guys don't realize who they're playing. And Peach wound up getting us pretty good at the end, but it was as proud of a group of kids I've been around because, number one, we came in and asked them to do things they've never had to do before. And, we were taking receiver guys and putting them in the box. Now you got to go block linebackers. And we lost our starting center that year, the first day of camp, towards every ligament in his knee. So we take our backup center. Well, he breaks his hand about midway through the season. So he's out there with a club every night. And these kids just play with a freshman quarterback, and they balled in, and we were able to win a playoff game, get to the second round, go play Peach tooth and nail for 3.5 quarters. And then, you got a really good group coming back. We played great the next year, get to the semifinals with that group for the first time in Pierce's history. And then, we lose to Cedar Grove, and we had no business being on the field with those guys. But then next thing you know, we get a call from Ware, and I think obviously it's a job growing up in Clinch County. Driving by Memorial Stadium 10 million times in my life and thinking, how cool would it be to coach in a big game in that stadium? And when we got the call to have a conversation with them, I think if I'd said no, I think my coaching staff might have revolted on me. So it was an opportunity we felt like we couldn't turn down, and so here we are. Several years later, and I couldn't be number one, couldn't be more proud of my career and the opportunities that I've had. So been very, very blessed. But this ride at Ware with the coaches, the current administration that we have, Buford Kellogg is as good as I've ever been around as a principal. Matt Collins, our AD, has just been incredible. Bert Smith was our superintendent. We've now got a new superintendent, Lynn Barber, who I think is going to do great things here as well. But Bert was unbelievable, and then our board has just bought into everything we've asked. And it is it's a football town, and we're thankful to be a part of it, buddy.
And won that state championship for Ware County, which they've been wanting for years.
Yeah, what's crazy is we felt like, we lost to Cartersville in 20, and it's kind of a crazy game. We'd gotten up, and we felt like, and we got by Cartersville, we could play for it. Obviously, you had Warner Robins standing out there. Warner Robins was in our region, and we had gone to Warner Robins and played them tooth and nail. And to credit them, we're leading with about 4 minutes to go, and they go on a 98-yard drive to beat us. And I mean, they were dang good. But we felt like, hey, we played with them one time. Let's play with them again on a neutral surface in the state championship, see what happens. Well, we didn't get that opportunity. The Del Rio kid had transferred into Cartersville, and he was legit. I mean, he was really good, and he played lights out in the second half, and they scored late to take the lead. We were driving. Our quarterback's helmet, Thomas Castellanos' helmet comes off, and on a third down play, and we got a fourth down play. We got to put our backup quarterback in, and it's just not a situation that kid needed to be in, and Cartersville got us. But we had a good group coming back, and so we felt like we might be able to make a run at the thing. The next year. Well, the next year we get Warner Robins at home and we beat them. And then we beat Coffee. And so now we've beaten Coffee 2 years in a row. We've beaten Warner Robins, who's last year's state champs. And now we're thinking, man, we can make a run at this thing. And we get Calhoun down at our place in the second round. And once again, man, their quarterback got hot in the second half. And I'm telling you, he was lights out. We couldn't get him off the field. And they made a play on us. We had made a decision late in the game that they were driving, and they were going to take the lead. So we made a decision late in the game. We were going to let them score, and then we were going to go down and score and go for two to win the game. And So we let them score. They kicked off, and we go down the field just like what we thought, and credit those guys, man. They made a great play at the 1 yard line and stopped us and win the game. And so that, the 21 year was the year you're thinking you're going to win it. I mean, this is where we can do it. And Chris, it's one of those things where I go back to 2014 and we lose on last second field goal. 15, we lose state championship. 16, we lose state championship. You lose like you did in 21. And, man, you start going in some dark places and asking yourself, is this going to happen? I mean, can you do this? And then 22 comes along and we graduate one of the greatest players that Ware County's ever had, and Thomas Castellanos. And, man, just what an incredible kid. We got to replace that guy, and you're not replacing that guy. But we kind of had a group coming along that just wanted to find ways to win. And especially early in this year, it was ugly. I mean, just, we'd win games 13-10 or, we played Bainbridge. Bainbridge has got us beat. I mean, they beat us all night long. We punt to them and their punt returner, for whatever reason, goes to try to chase a punt about 20 yards and it bounces off of him. We recover the ball like at the 3 yard line and go in and win the game. And so it was just winning games like that. And then about the time we hit region, it felt like we hit our stride and that maybe we could, go make a run of this thing. And then we got in the playoffs and we just played lights out in the playoffs. We get to the state championship. There's that old demon sitting on the other side and Warner Robbins. And, you're going to have to go through them again. And man, our kids played a great game that day. And it was a special moment being able to bring that state championship back to the swamp for the people of Ware County. So many times been so close. So it was a great moment.
Just capping it off. I mean, you finally, like you said, and like Chip said, and a lot of the other guys have said too, you win it. I mean, you'd won it as a player, won it as an assistant. And as an assistant and even as a player, you don't really think about it. You're excited, you're whatever. When you're a head coach and you play for it, and you sit there and you're like, man, we might not ever get this opportunity again. Well,
that was the thing that rattled through my head thousands and thousands of times. It's you start looking at your avenues because, Lamb, you got to be more than good to win it. I've said over and over and over, like your cheerleaders are got to have their best year. The band's got to have their best year. The water boys are got to have their best year. You got to avoid injury. You got to win a game that you probably shouldn't win. Our second round game that year against Chamblee outplayed us and went into halftime up. And we were struggling, especially on offense. And second half, we were a big zone team. I mean, that's who we are. In the second half, we just committed to running gap scheme stuff, and we're able to start reeling some things off. Had two really good running backs, in R.J. Boyd and Deshaun Dennis, and really good offensive line, and those guys were able to make some plays for us to get the lead, and then held on. But you're going to have to win a game that you're not supposed to win, and it's just not. I mean, being good isn't enough to win it. And there's so many things that's got to go into it. And it's to get back to Waycross, Georgia and kind of look around and go, man, we did it. I mean, we won this thing. And after so many heartbreaks and just, near misses and you question how many opportunities you're going to get. I mean, just being so thankful that we had a group of kids that could put it together, that were willing to do so many hard things that we asked them to do. And, Trey Hargrove leading that group of young men. I mean, just maybe the greatest football player I've ever coached. We've had tremendous athletes and other really, really good ones. And J.D. King at Fitzgerald was incredible. Jason Poe, one of the best humans I've ever coached, and Trey Hargrove. For everything that he did off the field was so impactful. Obviously, he was a tremendous player on the field. But being able to pull that thing together and play 15 games, to win that last one. It's an incredible feeling. It's an incredible story for our community. And now the goal is to, see if we can do it again. Here's the funny thing. I used to, fuss and complain to Coach McWhorter all the time about, golly, we were so close. We didn't get it done. So close. We didn't get it done. And Coach Mike used to say all the time, you know what, the day after, what happens the day after you win a state championship, Strick? And I go, what? He goes, your mortgage payment still got to be paid. Your car payment still got to be paid. The light bill's still going to come in. The credit card statement's still going to come in. And I go, yeah, that sounds great coming from a guy who's won 4. But I'm trying to win 1. But it was a great feeling, and people will believe this or not, however you want to. Yeah, for Coach Strickland, all that stuff is true. Those bills came. We still had some of the same problems that we had the day before, all that sort of thing. But for our community, that's what I want the feeling for. That's why I want to go do it again. I mean, seeing the joy in our community during that time was just incredible. And that's what makes the thing so special. That's what makes football so special. It's so hard. And I think in an age where we're trying to take hard things away from kids and make it easy, I mean, you just can't be successful with football like that. And I think football towns recognize that. And there's no doubt that we're in a football town. And so when they see you do something special, win or lose, this is one thing I'll say for our town, win or lose, when they see you do something special, they recognize it and they're proud of it. But to achieve that ultimate goal for this community was, I mean, that you just, there's not a whole lot of feelings that match up to that, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. Now, changing gears a little bit, one of the things that's made you so good to me is innovative on offense and being able to do so many different things. And you alluded to the fact that y'all became a zone team and then had to switch at halftime and go gap scheme. When you were labeled as a wing T guy all this time, talk a little bit about how over the years you've adjusted. You're one of the best at adjusting to what your kids can do.
Well, I know when we went to the wing, we kind of went around all over the place to talk with people, with Coach Heron and Wes Elrod up in Tennessee. But probably the most influential guy was Roger Holmes, and I don't know how many times we went and met with Roger, and just the hours upon hours upon hours that I sat in front of him on a chalkboard, on the phone, just emailing back and forth over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's what we sold our hat on. And I think that really elevated our career. And our coaching staff bought into it. Our kids bought into it. And then we had very, very early success with it. We went to Fitzgerald and then, we were running the same system. We got to 13. Our quarterback got hurt. So we had a backup quarterback, and the system, the style of wing that we were running, you need to be able to do, and I'll say this, it don't matter what style of wing you're running. I mean, to me, you need to be able to do one of two things well with it, and that's either run the option or be able to throw the football out of it. And we had a kid that was our starting quarterback that was tremendous at inside veer midline. Well, he goes down, and we had a young kid that had to come in and play, and just, physically wasn't ready for that moment, and it just took, a large part of our offense away. And, our offensive line had some injuries that year. We struggled, and we just kind of, we got to the end of the year, actually played Dublin in the playoffs, and then lost to Benedictine in the playoffs that year. But, we got to 14 and felt like we had a good group coming back. But, I didn't want to get caught into some of the issues that we had the year before. And the thought process of being able to, all of a sudden, the up-tempo offenses were coming around. So that was something that interested me. How can we do what we're doing with them and play it at a faster speed? Because we felt like our offensive line going into 14 was going to be a below average group. Now, they didn't turn out to be that way, but we felt like they were going to be a below average group. But our thought process, we can play fast, show 1,000 different formations, then we can help them out. And so our first thought process is we're going to go play fast. So we started talking to all these folks about how they're playing at these fast tempos. And then we said, all right, we've got this really good player named Gerald Morgan that was an all-state safety that can throw the heck out of the football. We're going to take him. We're going to move him from safety. We're going to make him quarterback. But I'm not going to make him stand under center and turn around and hand the ball off, 45 times a game. We got to be able to use Gerald and his athleticism. Gerald's 6'1", 185 pounds, could run, tremendous player. And, we decided we're going to back Gerald up. And we're going to get him to 3.5 yards, and we're going to play at pistol depth. And now we're going to let Gerald read everything. If it's trap, if it's gut, power, buck, we're going to let him read everything. And then as the season wore on, we started, going into the RPO system a little bit more with it. We lose in the semifinals that year. We get James Graham to come be our quarterback, dynamic athlete. So now we expanded a little bit more. And, we're reading a midline or a buck midline concept out of it. More dabbling into the RPO stuff at 15 and 16. We get to Pierce, and the quarterback we had there was not much of a runner, but man, he could throw it. I mean, he could throw the heck out of it. So we got, we said, all right, we got a guy that can throw it. We got, a couple receivers that are used to running around and catching the ball. Let's expand the pass game a little bit more out of it. And so we kind of, we expanded the passing game more. We get to Waycross, Ware County, and, we were set. This is what we're going to do. Thomas Castellanos, the perfect quarterback for what we want in this system. He can run, he can throw, he can do all of it. And, man, we get we scrimmage Camden, and we cannot gain a yard. We're pretty salty defensively. We can't gain a yard. Then Rockledge out of Cocoa Beach comes up here in the first game, and they just maul us. And we can't gain a yard against those guys. And, I'm not a big let's stay up at the building on Friday nights after the game. Let's get in. Let's get the trailer unloaded. Let's get the laundry started. Let's get the kids out of here, and let's go to somebody's house. That's just who I am. And my thought process with it is, if we won, we're probably too happy to sit here and be able to have a realistic look at the film. If we lost, I'm probably too pissed to sit here and have a realistic view of it. So let's get away. Let's go to somebody's house and let's just have conversation. And at that time, we were going to my house for a pretty good bit. So we wound up over at my house, and our offensive line coach, a guy named Brett Steverson, and Brett played for me at Fitzgerald. But we're at my house, and he said, Coach, we can't run the wing here. We can't do it. Not with the guys. Not what we're trying to do with the guys that we got. And he said, we're going to have to make a change. I said, Brett, we cannot make a change after game one. We've been doing this since spring football. We cannot. We just can't make a change. And so we talked and talked and talked. We talked again for a long time Saturday. So then, I got on the horn with some folks and talked with the guys at the Big O system. And, we kind of said, all right, for this season, we're going to make a change. We got to do something a little different. And we went to 11 personnel, fly off, and power counter, inside zone, and that's kind of who we were, and wound up making the playoffs. Here's the luck of Coach Strickland and his staff. That year, we win the region. They had not beat Wayne County in 2 years. We win the region. We beat Wayne County game 10. That seals it for us. So we're going to get 2 home playoff games. Win the first one. Clark Central upsets Buford game 10. So our game 2 or our round 2 playoff, because Clark Central upsets Buford, is Buford in Waycross, Georgia. Congratulations. And, and Buford comes down here and just mauls us. Coach Applin did us a really, really good favor, because he could have scored 70 if he wanted to. And I think they wound up 31-0 or something like that. But that's the fate, that's the draw, that's the matchups you get. I mean, Buford beats Clark. I like our matchup with Clark Central. I say we'd have beat them, but I like it better than Buford. But at the end of that season, we knew we had something special with Thomas. And, so we said, hey, we're about to go 10 personnel. We're going to put this thing in Thomas's hands and let him roll with it. And we probably 50% of the plays are going to happen on Friday night are going to be plays that Thomas checks us into. And, he turned into this dynamic quarterback that we thought he could be over the next 2 years. And then, that's who we were for a couple of years. We were 10 personnel based. We didn't have tight end bodies really. And then, now we've kind of transitioned into something a little bit different. We went and met with Mountain Brook at Alabama over the last 2 years. And now we're big. We got some tight end bodies and we're a big motion shift, outside zone. We've been outside zone based for the last 4 years, I guess, but now heavily with a tight end in the game, and so I know there's guys that have their system and they run their system, and Roger, he's lived and died with it. I can't say enough of the job he's done. Other folks kind of doing the same thing. I mean, you look at Marist and Coach Chadwick, and that's just impressive to me. Coach Pilcher all those years. But I've been one, and maybe it's being around Coach Mack several years of we're going to adapt to kind of who we have kid wise, and if we've got certain personnel that affords us the opportunity to change, then we're not going to be afraid to change.
Switching gears yet again, you are a prime example of your career is a prime example of something I talked to Chris Parker about last week. And that is, when you're a young coach, get on good staffs, get with good people, and learn as much as you can from them. Do you agree?
That's what you better do.
Because that's what you were able to do. I mean, you told us at the beginning about, I worked with good people when I was younger. I just didn't stay.
Yeah.
And I made that mistake where, I did like a lot of young guys do now, is they're so anxious to move on. Where you've got Jason Wicker and Andy Den have been with you. Well, Andy got with you at Fitzgerald, but I mean, you've got coaches on your staff that have been with you since the beginning.
Yeah, Wick's been with me. I don't know. Kids will ask Wick all the time, how'd you and Coach Strickland meet? He'll always say ChristianMingle.com. but he's Wick and me go back forever, and Coach Stevenson's been with me forever. It seems like now. Andy Den has been. He's one of us. Salt of the earth. So number one, I think we've tried to build a culture where guys we want to make it hard for guys to leave. But I left too early at times. I said it. I shouldn't have left Jeff Lee at Jones, and not when I did. Let me say that. But it gave me an opportunity to learn. It gave me, if I didn't leave then, I wouldn't have coached under Robert Davis. I wouldn't have coached under Jeff Collinwell. I wouldn't have. I don't know if I'd have got that opportunity to be under Coach Mack. But the thing that I will tell everybody right now: don't chase the job, chase coaches. And when you become a head coach, chase administrators. Don't chase athletes. Number one, if you're a young coach, get with a good staff and learn. Be a sponge. Don't feel like you got to give a bunch of information. That sort of thing. But just learn, soak up the knowledge and the conversations, and the way guys watch film, the way guys communicate with players, the way guys teach a drill. Just learn, and then you can be a part of groups where you learn things not to do too. And I'm sure guys have left our staff over the years and said, man, Strick used to do this. I'm never doing that. That's fine. I mean, I hope they gain value of everything we do. But then if you do get the opportunity to become a head coach at some point, number one, I'll go back to what Coach Mike told me. Look through the history of the program. Is there a period of 5, 6, 7 years or somewhere where they've had a period of really good success? If there is, then okay, maybe it can be repeated. If there's not, guys, you're not the answer. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean,
exactly. Well, I try to tell young coach down there in Orlando, like, baby, I know that this job is the kind of job you can get, but just stay put. Trust me on this.
Yes.
Just wait till you're 35, and then you can go take a job where you don't have to struggle.
Absolutely. I mean, you're not the answer. There's bigger underlying problems that are there that I just don't know that you can fix. But then when you get the head job and things are, I mean, if you're looking to move, you better know that administration you're moving to is fantastic. And you go chase administrators. When I left Derek Alston, who was fantastic, I was going to Stacy Bell. I mean, fantastic. When I left Stacy Bell, I was going to Dara Bennett. Fantastic. Derek Bennett I don't know. To win, Dara Bennett would shoot you in the forehead with a 38. I mean, she was that adamant about winning. Then, I left Derek and go to Bert Smith, and Bert's the same way. We were going to be successful. You better chase really, really good administrators, because if you don't have great administrators, then it don't matter. None of the things that you're trying to do are going to get accomplished, because you're not going to get the support. They're not going to do it. I'm fortunate now. We've got Buford Kellogg, who is, just jam up, unbelievable as far as well-rounded, wants, every avenue of what we do between academics, athletics, literary, arts, all that type of stuff. He wants it to be top of the line. And he's gonna fight and make sure we have those things. And if you're not chasing administrators, man, you're gonna get yourself in trouble, because you're gonna wind up in a situation that hey, man, it looks good. You sit there and go, man, they got athletes. Okay, all right, go jump on that train. Go jump on that train, because that class is gonna graduate. Yeah, and then all of a sudden,
then we'll see you at the clinic next year looking crazy.
Looking crazy. That's exactly right.
And it happens every year. Every year. And going into that, just, me and you came in at the same time. So we've become old heads now. And you and I have talked about it ad nauseum. And so I know what you're going to say. What are some things about the game, the high school game, that's changed since we got in it, that is just so much different than when we first started?
Well, I think, now probably the biggest thing is parents listening to people that are not their high school coaches. That's a battle that we face. Just trying to get them to understand that, if you were paying me money, I'd probably tell you what you want to hear too. So it just, that on an everyday basis, we're going to show up and we're going to try to do exactly what's the best for your kid in the realm of helping our football team. Now, if it's not going to help our football team, then what you think is best for your kid, we may have to reevaluate kind of what that is. The other thing now is the transferring. I mean, we got guys, announcing on Twitter that they're going to spend their, I'm transferring in my senior year to, wherever. That's, one of the things that I still love about where we're at, obviously single school county and still small town South Georgia. I mean, we don't get the move ins and move outs as much in our area. But that's totally changed. And I don't think it's for the good. But it's not, you're not going to put the toothpaste back in the tube. It is what it is. I think the GHSA's got an impossible task of trying to police things. And I do think they honestly do the best job that they can do. It's just an impossible task. But I don't know what the answer is. So it's not one of those things I'm sitting here, making complaints about what's going on. I have no answers. But I'd like to get back to, parents, listen to your coaches. Don't listen to the trainer or whoever the handler, whoever that guy is. And then, kids, it's okay to kind of go through some hard things right here and earn your way. You may not be a starter right now, but crossing over, a couple county lines and being a starter might not be exactly what you thought it was going to be either. And, so it's a battle that we're all facing. I can't imagine what this thing's going to look like, 10 years from now. It's going to get crazy. We're throwing out things now that I never thought we'd even talk about in the state of Georgia, competitive balance and all these sorts of things, these ideas. But, that's for people that are smarter than me to try to figure out. But, one of the things I think that has hurt us, Lamb, is the old let's spend the night together camp. Not having that really now. And the
schedule won't let us have it.
No, you're not going to do it. I mean, you're not going to be able to have it. And and now with the 2 practices one day, can't have multiple practices on back-to-back days. So it's not feasible. And don't get me wrong, there were things about that time that we didn't need to do. I mean, there was stuff that was just
oh yeah. I'm not
crazy.
Saying they were the glory days by any stretch of the imagination.
But what it did was it made us all good because it was hard on coaches. Because coaches never slept. Like at least the kids got to sleep a little bit. Coaches never slept. I mean, we were scared to death what the kids were going to be doing. And but what it did was it made us all go through something hard together. And then I think as a kid, when you come out of that, you're going, ain't no way I'm quitting. I just went through that. I'm not quitting this year. Right? If I'm not a starter, or if all of a sudden I'm losing playing time during the season, I'm not quitting. I went through that ordeal.
Yeah, you can't justify it to yourself.
Yeah, and so I think there's the benefits of that, and the trials that you go through together and being able to challenge each other to go through it. It absolutely sucked. I tell you, nobody hated it worse than I did. But I think what you got out of it was really, really much of a bigger benefit than the things that were negative.
So over the years, you've been a lot of different places and a lot of different areas of the state. Who are some of your favorite guys that you've competed against and coached against and just enjoy getting to visit with before the games or see at clinics that you've built good relationships with coaching-wise?
Oh, boy, man, when you talk about a long list of folks, but Jeff Littleton would be right at the top of that. Just had some, incredible wars against Jeff over the years. Danny Britt at Benedictine, he's cost me so many doggone sleepless nights. But just so many, tremendous Friday nights, win or lose against that guy. I enjoyed competing against Coach Pruitt. I think, when we first got to Fitzgerald, I think folks wanted us to have a negative view of Coach Pruitt. And Coach Pruitt was such a tremendous asset for me at Fitzgerald, and I was able to call him and just ask questions and rely on his his knowledge of the community and people there and who I needed to be in contact with on a regular basis. I mean, he was tremendous to us for 5 years at Fitzgerald, but then getting to Ware and having an opportunity to compete against him and just the relationship that we developed over the years. But those guys would be right at the top of the list of folks that it's just been fun to communicate with and battle against, and at the end of it, we're going to be friends and tip the hat with each other at the end of it.
Well, Coach, I sure have enjoyed you sharing your story with us and watching you grow over the years and our friendship and getting to watch you succeed and pull for you. And I've always stood in the end zone on the outside watching and watched y'all play Rabun County at Fitzgerald a couple of times. Been across the field from you when I was at Early County, winning the region with y'all, and just watched how you do and what you do and admired you for that. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with everyone.
Well, buddy, I appreciate the opportunity. And like I said earlier, what you're doing with this is a huge impact. I can't say thank you enough. I mean, just being able to listen to the podcast has been awesome to me, and listen to some of the conversations. And for everybody, I'll kind of tell a little bit of a story about you and the type of human being you are. I'll go back to when I was preparing for the job at Lamar County. I didn't know at that time that you were interviewing for that job. And so by now, I think most people know that certainly at one point, possibly even now, if you wanted to know about a job in this state, Chris Lamb was the person that you needed to make contact with. And so I was reaching out to you to get information on Lamar County, and you were not holding back anything. I mean, you were being as open and honest about it, while at the same time applying for the same job, and could have given me all sorts of negative information, but that's not what you did. Number one, it's not the person you are, but I'm very, very thankful for that. I always have been. I've never told you that, but I'll always remember that. And then when I found out that all of a sudden you were interviewing for the job, I was like, golly, why? He could have cut me out of this thing in a hurry. But it's just number one, it's the type of person you are, and man, you've had a huge impact in this state for a long time. Not just for these podcasts, but there's going to be a lot of young coaches that are going to hear a lot of long stories about Man of Constant Sorrow. Well, they hired the right guy at Lamar, obviously, and you're right. I'm not that guy. I would never. And it goes back to what we're sharing with people. These are the guys that raised us. Yep. And we weren't raised to be that way. Now, there's a lot of people these days that are that way. No doubt. That's just not the way Coach Mack raised you and Coach Davis raised you and Bobby Mack raised me. And that's just not the way we were raised to be. And if you can help folks, you ought to help them. And you've always been that way too. You've always been gracious. And, you opened up your office one Saturday. We ate a great Mexican place in Fitzgerald, and you showed me the offense and went through every minutia of it. And you got to have this kind of guy playing this position, and he's got to be able to do, it wasn't just here's a book, here's the formations, figure it out. I mean, and that meant a lot, because you could have been like, no, I'm not telling you what we do. It's just because some people are that way too. So, it's part of the fraternity and part of, to me, that's what we're supposed to do. Once you get, to me, the kids are first. They're the most important thing. But after that, the other part of it is we should take care of each other, because we've got the only job. It's kind of like being, a president or something. There's only so many of us. Yeah. And we have a unique job that not many other people have. And cutting each other's throats and stabbing each other in the back is not, that's not right. Well, and we can't move into a world, and that's where I'm afraid we're tilting to. I'm not saying we're going in that direction. I'm afraid we're tilting to. Our goal can't be to get in front of the next guy or get in front of the other guy.
No, you ought to be helping. You ought to be picking them up to help them get there.
And that's, I mean, like you said, number one, the first goal is kids. Let's love kids. Let's treat kids the way we want to be treated. Let's help them in every avenue we can until we can't. And then, those things happen. But the next thing is let's help fellow coaches and understand that, we are in a business that if this thing goes away, we're going to not recognize a country. And that's how important I believe what we do is. And so there's no reason to try to cut somebody off or cut somebody's legs out from under them or try to, do things to just try to get ahead of the next guy. That, help the next guy, because I can promise you it will come back tenfold.
Oh, absolutely. And you've helped so many people over the years, and I just value our friendship and really thank you for taking the time to come on here and share your story with everybody else, because they may have heard about the myth, they may have heard about the legend, but now they actually know the story of the man. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing it with everybody.
Lamb, I appreciate it, brother. I got a little something calling me here in a few minutes, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Anytime I get around you and able to talk ball for the last 20 years, I've absolutely enjoyed it, partner. Appreciate you.